Alright, how are we doing? How are we doing? Just making sure it's working. It's not working. It's alright. It's totally working. Okay. Alright. Hello everyone. How come the preview on here is not working? Okay. Should be live. Alright. Hello. How is it going? Honestly, Ether, that's such a mood right now. Hello. How are things going, happening? This is this was my chill stream idea. And honestly, I thought I was gonna do it a couple days ago. I just noticed that treasure chest on the top. I have to look at that. Yeah, this was my chill stream idea. To just talk about Genshin lore. But maybe I should preface a little bit. Back about a month ago now, which is crazy to think about, they released the Song of the Welcome Moon teaser. Introduced a whole bunch of characters we'll be meeting in nod-krai. And oh my gosh, that was just so exciting for me. And that night and the night afterwards, I spent the whole night just thinking about it. Lying in bed, I supposed to be asleep, couldn't. Just thinking about all the lore and things and stuff. Oh, what is this? I can't believe there's something we missed from last time. I was just thinking about the lore and all the stuff about the game. And then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna write all the stuff down as ideas and then we're gonna talk about it. I'm gonna do a stream and I'm gonna talk about every single thing I'm thinking about right now on a stream. And it's gonna be great, but I can't do it now because I have homework and reports and exams to prepare for all at once. There we go. Do I need to paint a different color? What do you want from me here? Yellow. You're breaking my train of thought. We can't be doing this. I was just only using Genshin even as a backdrop to think about stuff. Oh, there's a heart. Well, yeah. So it's been a month later now, and now I'm looking back at my really scrambled list of things to say. I'm like, alright, now I have to figure out what 1 month ago me really wanted to talk about for a whole hour or so. Because I assume it was a lot. Oh, there's a here even. Let's do that. Let that guy be happy. Yeah. That's what we're gonna do today. We'll watch the trailer again. Well, see, the nice thing about doing this in Genshin, you can see there's so many things we can talk about in Genshin about Genshin. That's nice, isn't it? What I was gonna say is we can, of course, see the moon fragments in the background. And okay, now it's all coming back to me. Let's see how much of this I can figure out. I'll just be an Asha for this, I don't know. And we can be under the false sky. Actually, let's watch the trailer first. I have it up over here. Hello, is it working? Is it working? The video is still buffering, but I don't know if it's working. Okay, the stream is working. The video is not. Okay, this is a great start. This is why I don't like doing streams with no plan. But the problem is not that there's no plan. It's that I had the plan and I forgot all of it over the course of like a whole month. But yeah, the marionette. Flynn's, Nefer Jehoda, Aino and Anefa, Durin, and Loma and Varka and Nicole and Columbina. And our favorite, Ether and Paimon. Hi, Toki Tot. I don't have a plan for this stream. I was just explaining before, this was an idea I had to just ramble about stuff, but now that I'm actually here, I don't know what to ramble about. So we're just gonna watch the trailer and see, and just see. He says, Toki Tot says, I'm at work, but I had enough of a break to pop in and stick around for a bit. Oh, nice. Even if you have to go back to work, you can just watch this afterwards, because this is just a chill stream idea. Okay, we're gonna watch the trailer. This is important because if the timeline is correct, tomorrow they're gonna announce the special program. Special program will be on Friday or Saturday or something like that. And then we will have so much to talk about then. So I want to talk about what we know now before we have more stuff to talk about later on top of the stuff to talk about now. Okay, now is the video working?
You wish to hear a story of the moon?
It was totally not working just now.
That tale begins long, long ago.
I've watched this so many times.
Mister! Nefa's starting her story already!
Thanks for the heads up.
I think I have to pause to talk even though I turned the volume way down because I think it still is louder than my mic. But it is really cool to meet all these new characters and also to meet old characters that we've only heard about from other characters, like Varka, and Alice. We get to finally meet them after literally hearing about them for 5 years. Awesome. Okay, we're gonna pause this a lot because I've decided we're not gonna watch the whole thing through. We're just gonna pause it a lot. But it's Durin! It's Mini Durin! And Nefa's back in nod-krai. I can't wait.
Oh, the moon's a long way off. We might go hungry, but at least we have plenty of time. Hey, kid!
This is still insane to me. After so long, who would have ever thought they'd make a playable version of Durin?
Headpiece of yours is pretty unique. Who designed it? Could you hook me up?
We have to protect him at all costs.
In that era, there was no boundary between life and death.
Right. What does that mean?
Willpower flowed freely among countless beings.
Also, going back to that, I'm assuming those are the 3 moon goddesses from back in the day when there were 3 moon goddesses.
Freely among countless beings. The primordial being that once ruled this planet made 3 moons rise from the earth.
Right. And the primordial being is... we don't know, actually. There's several candidates for who that could be. However... keep watching.
It was not until the funerary year that the primordial voice once again cried out in the darkness.
Okay. And then not until the funerary year, which we don't know what that means, did the primordial voice once again cry out in the darkness. I feel like is referring to they showed there was 3 moons, and then they talk about there was a new moon, and I wonder if that has anything to do with the new moon. Hello.
My lady.
The Frost Moon Scions again. A laughably futile rebellion.
O pale white frost moon, I, your loyal emissary, and scion of Hyperborea, beseech you.
Yup.
That's not what I meant to press. I was just gonna say, This is so surreal that we're so close. That's sorry, that's just my thought going through my mind watching this all over again.
Gentle tears pierce the frigid night and grant us, the forsaken and forgotten, your guiding light.
You didn't come here for the story, did you?
Finished already, huh?
No. It's just a greater storyteller than myself has come.
Now,
Nicole Ryan.
beyond the moonlight's reach, an ancient shadow brandishes its hunting claws, taking aim at the stars.
I'm just saying. I mean, she's definitely some kind of fairy. The question is, I'm wondering if she's also like an angel or something. Considering we were talking about angels with the Lord of the Night and all of that.
Taking aim at the stars.
You're right. I came here for the moon.
Yeah, that's important too. We wonder, where has Varka been this whole time? Well, he came here for the moon, and Mondstadt is German for Moon City. So that's also super interesting.
Here for the moon. I'm afraid you have the wrong person. Now, be gone.
Can I say, the Wild Hunt looks pretty. We're gonna watch the other trailer too, I think, at some point. But the Wild Hunt looks really scary. Oh my gosh, here she is! This insane heels.
In the water, the future mirrors the past. The veil of lies is slipping. Time is short. The moon's fall is nigh.
That's so ominous. Oh, this is just reminding me how much I want to know what all this means. We can all collectively freak out. Like, no, seriously, I was like, I'm not sure they're gonna actually reveal Alice. So this is, even still, I feel like it still feels too early. And then they did. And then I'm like, we got to finally meet Alice.
Here at last. And things look even messier than last time.
And she has a dodoco.
Well, Miss Alice, shall we begin?
There's no rush, and I'd like to catch up with an old friend first.
Yay.
And you...
And I think some people were speculating her vision might be fake as well. Like Venti's.
young man?
Let's part ways here.
Bro, I'm so excited for Albedo and Wanderer to be involved in the Archon quests again. For them to be plot relevant. But we knew this day was coming because there's There's a lot. There's a lot to discuss now. Now my brain is stimulated.
I have an old score of my own to settle.
Oh my gosh, we're gonna talk about that as well. Night of the Still Mist, Rise of the New Moon. I wonder if that's what the new update's gonna be called. Okay. Great. Go back to here. We're gonna go back to here. We're gonna talk about stuff. Where do I start? Okay, now I can go back to my list of things I jotted down like a month ago. And yeah. What was the first thing about? The Hexen Circle. Okay. So yeah, that's right. Why am I down here? Did I fall out of the sky? Did you take me away from whatever cool platform I was standing on? Alright, well... You know what? It's better for me to have the video in front of me rather than just Genshin. Because then I can go back to things in the video. That makes way more sense. Why am I doing what I'm doing? Okay, we can start by talking about the Hexen Circle, because pretty much that's like the basis of all the lore stuff I have jotted down on this list. The Hexen Circle is like... This is essentially a recapping of what we know so far stream. No. The Hexen Circle is this organization of these mages, or I guess they're like witches, but really they are just this powerful society of influential women. Some of them have been immortal and some of them haven't, but they've all had a big impact on Teyvat as a whole, and a lot of them we've met before. The leader, of course, is Alice, Klee's mother, who is also a Dodoko fan and an engineer and inventor and alchemist and mage. She's a mage. She does magic. And she's also maybe a descender. We're not quite sure. And she's also the guardian of the world's borders. She does a lot. She also writes travel guides. She's been everywhere, honestly. And it's exciting that she's here, because literally we've been hearing bits and pieces from her for the last 5 or so years. She set up the Golden Apple Archipelago for us to explore with Klee. She also set up the Valoria Mirage for Adia, and then invited Klee and friends to go there. And then she set up, she and the rest of the Hexen Circle, specifically a couple other members, were responsible as the so-called goddesses of Simulanka, which was a storybook world. And so, yeah, that's a little bit about Alice. She's been everywhere. She has been everywhere, and she clearly is much more powerful than we even understand. So the fact that she's making her presence known here is very exciting. And she also went to visit Klee for her birthday recently. And that's just so nice to see. All right. Then who else do we have in the Hexen Circle? And then we have Rhine-Daughter. And Rhine-Daughter is one of... She's also really powerful, let's just say. In fact, she's probably the most scary powerful. I mean, Alice is too. I mean, okay, we're talking about powerful. Alice is pretty scary too. We think about how Klee blows up entire mountains with her bombs, and they say Alice is way more destructive than her. So, yeah, that's Alice. On the other hand, Rhine-Daughter is also pretty destructive. Rhine-Daughter is a member of the Hexen Circle, one of the 5 sinners of Conria, and now she's kind of one of the 4 shades too, so she's also kind of everywhere. She's the alchemist who created Albedo and Durin, the original Durin, not the other Durin. We're going to get to the other Durin. And all the Rift Wolves, hence why we call them, Albedo's siblings, because they are. And apparently also the Bakunawa, Is she even here? Oh yeah, she is here in the thumbnail on the God's Limits over there on that side. That's Rhine-daughter. I'm assuming that's Rhine-daughter and not Nibirius. I mean, it is Nibirius, but you know, like appearance-wise, that's what Rhine-daughter looks like. And Rhine-daughter is responsible for, during the Khaenri'ah Cataclysm, unleashing all of the Rift Wolves upon Khaenri'ah and Teyvat. It's unclear whether that was one of the things that caused the Cataclysm or whether that was a response to the Cataclysm. But either way, the release of all the Rift Wolves wreaking havoc across Teyvat was extremely destructive and bad. Sometime after Khaenri'ah is when she created Albedo. Albedo is a homunculus and the greatest creation of Rhine-daughter. And then she also trained him to be a powerful alchemist as well. And then he's been in Mondstadt since because they parted ways. Because Rhine-daughter was looking for the heart of Nibirius. This was way back many years ago in the game and also in real life too. And then now we have discovered that she has devoured the heart of Nibirius, and the two of them have been fused together in a Anaxa and Circe's like situation. But probably much more terrifying than that example. Meanwhile, Albedo has been in Mondstadt taking care of Kali because Rhine-daughter entrusted him into Alice's care, and Alice left him also with the Knights of Favonius, just like she did with her own daughter, and now they hang out and defend Mondstadt. I will use that word loosely because they do a lot of, Klee does a lot of blowing up stuff, and Albedo has to clean up their messes. Maybe we'll see them both in nod-krai. We're probably not going to see Klee in nod-krai, actually, but we're definitely seeing Alice and Albedo. And possibly the Shades might get involved at some point, too. All right. Going back to I'm going to go back to the game so I have some music. Music is stimulating. Going back to the Hexenzirkel, and that's right, Simulanka, the other two goddesses of Simulanka were other two members of the Hexenzirkel. One of them was Barbaloth. Barbaloth is Mona's master, who is also an astrologist. Like Mona, oh my gosh, astrology in Genshin is a whole other topic we could delve into. But then, I can't remember what her role was in Simulanka. Anyway, though, Mona's avoiding her, something to do with reading her diary or something like that. But she's also super powerful. I don't know if she's also involved in the Paralogism quest that I haven't played yet, too. But yeah, those three are the ones that I believe are the immortal members. Oh, and then, of course, the other one is Nicole Rayan, who we saw in that trailer with the wings, and she's also the narrator as well. Nicole is a member of the Hexenzirkel we met when Wanderer, we're going to talk about him later too, at the end of his quest, after he did what he did, Nicole comes at the end, and she's speaking to the Traveler in his mind. The Traveler being the only one that really remembered Wanderer's past after the Irminsul incident. Yet Nicole seemed to know, too. She knew, even though he had been erased from Irminsul, and like only a few people, like the Traveler, could remember. And she was telling us about how, She was telling us about, believe that which with you see with your own eyes. The rest is but an illusion. She was telling us all this cryptic kind of stuff. And then she also appeared during the Fontaine Archon quest. But I don't remember what she said back then. So that's great. No, but she's almost like this omniscient point of view in the story so far. We've never seen her, and she's always, every time she appears, it's like she's narrating. It's like, well, not necessarily she's narrating. In that trailer, it was like she was narrating. But she seems to have this, yeah, exactly, omniscient, like all-seeing view of the story. And then when we Skirk, okay, that's a whole other thing. Skirk has voice lines about Alice and about Nicole, like.
I wonder if becoming human was an evolution or regression to her. How did it feel, witnessing the self-destruction of her species firsthand? I considered asking her these questions when we first met, but given her personality, I thought better of it. I think I'll just leave her alone to work on her sculptures.
Well, it sounds like Skirk is one of the few people we've met who has also physically met Nicole in person. Because so far, we've only met Nicole through her speaking into our mind magically from time to time. But still, witnessing the self-destruction of her species firsthand, I wonder if becoming a human was an evolution or regression to her. Yeah, that's why it makes me think about like the angels and the Seelies, and how the angels became the Seelies, which are a much more primitive form. But we don't know yet. It's just the topic of angels and Seelies has been brought up. And then what does she have to say about Alice?
As the sustainer of the world's borders, she tolerates my presence.
Yeah.
But she did make me promise not to interfere too much with this world's affairs. That was fine by me, but I had to know the reason why. She said many ecologists find it emotionally overwhelming when they observe the animal kingdom and see the predators hunting and the prey fleeing. But they'll never interfere in the process. Instead, they allow the laws of nature to take precedence over their own emotions. In her own words, some call this being a callous observer, but I think it's merciful at the same time.
Yeah, I know what she means. But the important thing there is Alice, despite all the other huge long list of titles she has, is also the sustainer of the world's borders, which is pretty cool, but also pretty scary at the same time.
On one of the times that we met, she urged me to listen to the voice of my heart and learn how to enjoy my present life. She was being sincere and showing she cared. And for that, I ought to thank her.
Yeah, that's right. What do you have to say about her too?
My mom and dad are the famousest travelers in Tibet.
Yeah.
Mom writes the Tibet travel guide, so all the restaurants and hotels in the whole world care what she thinks about them.
That's what I mean. She's like, Alice is clearly the most like versatile character, and she is everywhere that we've been so far. From the smallest things like enjoying restaurants and food, to the most meaningful things like making sure her daughter has the bestest summer vacation ever, to, you know, existential stuff like, oh, the sky is fake and it needs somebody to guard the border. It sounds like it's her. So yeah, I think those are, so we talked about Alice, Rhine-daughter, Barbaloth, and Nicole, and those are like the immortal members of the Hexen Circle as far as we can tell, and they're all pretty crazy powerful as well. So that they are making their presence known in nod-krai, at least two of them, minimum, is a pretty big deal story-wise. Then you also have, and all the Hexen Circle members go by a one-letter code name. So the first few are easy. Alice is A, Rhine-daughter is R, Barbaloth is B. She has B, right? Yeah, she has B. Stream's current. Okay, that's fine. I thought it went down. Stream's not down. Stream is still alive. And then Nicole is N. Then we have other members like like Jay, I don't remember what her full name was, but she was the one who, her disciple, was able to locate the rest of the Hexen Circle. And thanks to her, we got to meet the rest of the Hexen Circle, so that was pretty important. There's implied to be other Hexen Circle members as well. The other one I'm going to talk about, though, is M. Her name was Anya Anders' daughter, and she passed away a long time ago, but she was an author. She wrote a lot of the books, if we go into the books. Specifically, she wrote a book called The Boar Princess something. Wait, actually, right? Please. There's so many books. Wait, there's so many books I don't have now. Okay, well that's awkward. I need to go find these books. I used to be so good at collecting them, but I realize now that was years ago. And, oh, here's a Teyvat travel guide. The Teyvat travel guide. Are there only 3 volumes? Or have I just not collected the 3 volumes after this? Toki-Tatsu stream has been good, just listening to it like a podcast in the background now. Oh, awesome. Thank you. This one's really a very podcast style stream, so glad it's actually working. Are there more volumes of the Teyvat travel guide that I just haven't collected, or do they even exist? Oh no, I don't know if I've been a good book hoarder. I haven't. Okay, I very much haven't been. I haven't gotten any books from like any of the more recent nations. Where is the one I'm looking for? It's the Boar Princess. There it is. Okay, well this is long. For reading the whole thing. The point is that this was written by Anya Anders' daughter, aka M. The reason she's important, she was the main founder of Simulanka. Simulanka was the summer area we went to last year, and in that adventure, we went on an adventure with all of our friends. Including Wanderer. I think Klee showed up again too, and Albedo. And then Albedo talks to Wanderer about what we learned, and that was in this world of Simulanka. Maybe. Okay, you know what? We're gonna come back to Simulanka because I need to go back to talk about Rhine-Daughter and Albedo again first, and we're gonna go back to Rhine-Daughter and Albedo, and then Durin. Durin, you know what? No more summer vibes. We're going to scary places now. There's a mountain that I think Genshin players are familiar with, called Dragonspine in Mondstadt. Those of us early players that have had very memorable. Why are their numbers backwards? Their numbers were backwards just now. Anyway, exploring Dragonspine is one of the most memorable early memories one has in Genshin. The reason it's called Dragonspine is precisely because of this area, Wormrest Valley. A long time ago, there was a conflict. I think this was during the Archon War, or maybe it was after. No, this wouldn't have been during that. No, sorry, this would have been during the Cataclysm. The timeline of this game is vast. During the Cataclysm, by the way, for anybody who's wondering, I've not played the Paralogism quest. I know this changes when you do. Why is there a Fatui guy there? I don't want to have to deal with you while I'm talking about stuff. Oh my gosh, the little baby dragon hides in the shell. Oh my gosh, that's so cute. That is adorable. We're getting so distracted.
Going out into
totally
the world
fine.
and
That's just
investigating,
the vibe of this.
turning the unknown into
Oh
the
my gosh.
known.
Okay, it's been a while since I've been in Dragonspine. I totally forgot that we're gonna freeze
I
to
miss
death
this feeling.
if I don't find a fire. Is there fire? There is a fire, but it's not necessarily the one I wanted to hide it next to right now. It's not actually a fire at all. Okay. Well, at least we're not gonna die of freezing. During the Cataclysm, as reflected in a item I don't have, which is kind of important, but I don't have it because it's just for before my time in Genshin, is the story of the original Durin. The Durin was a dragon, like an abyss dragon created by Daughter. And from his perspective, he just wanted to see the world and, you know, spread beauty and tales of the place where he was from and of his mother, this great creator of life. But he was... I don't have the item in front of me. You know what? This is where my tab here for the Genshin fandom is important. It's called Festering Desire. This is a problem that I don't have this item actually for lore reasons. And so this is a story from long ago. Unborn life, unfulfilled wishes, tragic dreams at the edge of the universal darkness that could never come true. Indwell my body and descend unto this world. Then, my lovely children, like rainwater flowing into creeks and plants growing towards the sun, go unto a lovely place and display your own beauty there with pride. This is a memory that a child named Durin had of his mother. Thank you, Mother. Thank you. You gave me wings to soar in a mighty form. Mother, I wish to go to a land of lovely songs. I will tell them about you, Mother, and about everyone else. I shall tell them that the place where I was born is beautiful. So that's the story of this Durin over here. The land of lovely songs, of course, is the land of bards and freedom, Mondstadt. I don't know if you can tell this by the fact that we're standing next to a disembodied organ and the skeleton of, and the skull of... By the way, when I first discovered... No, when I first realized this was the skull of Durin, it made me feel really sad. Now he's gonna protect us from being hunted by the Fatui. Okay, so that's what happened to Albedo's brother Durin. He got into a fight with Dvalin. It's in short, his nature was too destructive. The people were afraid of him, and he did not succeed in spreading word of the beauty of his home and all the positive things. Yeah. Yeah, this is pretty old lore. I'm trying to remember exactly. Only that it made me feel sad. Because, yeah. Now he's here laying to rest on Dragonspine. And it's through his blood that the Festering Desire sword was made. All of these crystals on Dragonspine are around. And there's a beating heart and the rest of his body. And essentially the entire landscape on Dragonspine changed as a result of the original Durin's death here after a fight with Dvalin. Meanwhile, because he was a poisonous abyssal dragon, his poison also affected Dvalin. Dvalin is the dragon that we rescued in the Mondstadt Archon quest. And that is pretty much all we heard from Durin for a bit until... I forgot there's something here. A strange glow emanates from this peculiar object. What is this? I got a notification. Sorry, I got an email from YouTube. It says your channel has lost access to advanced features. I don't know what this means. You won't be able to do things like get higher daily limits for live stream shorts and video uploads, embed live streams, pin comments, and add external links to your video descriptions. What did I do? What did I do? Is it because I streamed 2 times yesterday and now they're gonna restrict my channel? Wait, what is this? I'm so confused. Like, I usually ignore notifications on my phone, but then I was like, this was a one from YouTube saying your channel has lost access to advanced features. And I'm like, I'm sorry, what? Well, as long as the stream is not being shut down right now by YouTube, definitely, okay. I don't know what to make of that. Well, the stream hasn't gone down yet, so I guess the thing is, this was the last stream I'm planning to do for a while. At least until Friday, which is not actually that long. Okay. Where were we? I don't want to extract vitality right now. I use that to make the spear. Anyway, then we had the whole albedo quest, and then there was imposter albedo, and then Whopper Flower albedo, and he told us more about him being... What is this? Oh, okay, this one's a scam notification. I'm on high alert now because I'm like, what kind of warning was that? Okay, I'm gonna not worry about that. Okay, enough about this. The point is, original Durin died a really sad death, and we're all really sad. And then albedo hangs out on Dragonspine for reasons. Fast forward back to Simulanka and Anya and Alice and Wanderer. We go to Simulanka, and then we go on this whole storybook adventure, and we learn about a dragon that has been terrorizing the residents of Simulanka and destroying the stars. While we go on this journey, we learn the truth. That is that M created a story based on Durin, the real Durin, but perhaps as being an author and having that artistic license, and also, I suppose, like all of us, wishing that we could dream up a new happy ending for Durin, where he was not, dead like this. She left for him a book world that is Simulanka, so he could create his own story. But in this world, just like in real life, the residents were scared of him and thought of him as a thief, when really he was stealing the stars because he missed his mother. In this case, and that's the thing is, original Durin, of course, considers granddaughter to be his mother.
How about a quick break so I can sketch this beautiful scenery?
Yeah, you want to sketch this, albedo? I mean, by all means, go for it. In this case, though, this dragon in the story, the first is thinking of Anders' daughter. Anya Anders' daughter, the storybook writer, is his mother. Anyway, when we go through Simulanka, that's when we have the whole scene with Wanderer and his own tragic story and feeling of loss and abandonment.
Going out into the world and investigating, turning the unknown into the known. I miss this feeling.
I miss using albedo, actually. Anyway, long story short, we're able to use the power of the storybook in order to make Durin small and adorable. But more importantly, he's overcome not that he's overcome his trauma, but he's now found friends like Wanderer that can help him build a new life. And that's what they did at the end in Simulanka.
What a view.
Wanderer said...
How about a quick break so I can sketch this beautiful scenery?
We're gonna switch to Traveler. I'm sorry, albedo. To do your best to atone. You can't undo the past, but you can try to, move forward for the future. That was what he learned himself from Nahida. And perhaps now was able to pass on that wisdom to somebody else going through something similar. And so they did. They filled in the big footprints and helped rebuild houses in Simulanka. And then with the power of the magic from Alice, he was able to leave Simulanka, the storybook world, and go into real life. I don't know where the story goes from here because I haven't played the new Archon quest. However, I am aware that the implication is Albedo was able to turn him into a human. So that's the story of Durin. So Durin and the playable Durin is not the same as Durin, whose corpse we are now hiding within for warmth, which is a weird thing to say. And I'm interested to see where his story goes next from here. Okay, working. Please work. Yay! Okay, it's back. You know, if he's an introvert in a new situation, which kind of looks like to be the case, obviously he's going to be quieter than usual. That's super understandable. As somebody... As soon as you said yay, it buffered again. That's so unfortunate. Hold on, can you still hear me now? I can't hear myself. Hi, can you guys hear me? It says excellent connection. I don't know what it's talking about. Please work. Yay! Alright.
You think I've got a sharp tongue? I just tell it like it is. If someone can't handle it, maybe that's their problem.
I'm sorry, it's so funny to be hit with that after I finally get it working. Okay, the point of saying is we're not gonna switch back to YouTube anymore. I was gonna avoid doing it because that seems to be problematic. Point is, that was most of the Hexen Circle related stuff, and then Durin and Albedo. I wanted to mention, clearly the Hexen Circle is going to be involved, and so is Durin, and so is Albedo. And it looks like Durin will have to, he's going to be sorting through his own past, as well as whatever he's in nod-krai for. Alright, thanks, Wanderer. We could talk a whole lot about Wanderer, but I've already done many streams absolutely crying and sobbing about his story. We can quickly recap. Especially the parts that are going to be relevant, I think, to his
There's no such
presence
thing
in
as pure
nod-krai.
freedom in this world. Even the wind cannot blow on forever.
Thanks. But yeah, he was a creation by the Electro Archon, the Raiden Shogun. In her pursuit of eternity, she wanted to create an eternal body to put her consciousness into, and then as a prototype of a concept, it wasn't necessarily meant, it was not meant to be one, like the body she would actually use. But she created the character that would later come to be known as a Wanderer. He's been through many names, and also no names, and a lot of identity seeking.
You think I've got a sharp tongue?
Okay.
I just tell it like it is. If someone can't handle it, maybe that's their problem.
This is also like how much I'm willing to let the... Why does it say no data, but it has a green light like it has data? Come on, YouTube, please. I think it hasn't gone down, but it's making me nervous. I'm worried about that notification I had about losing access to features. Is it mad that I streamed like 5 days in a row? It might be mad. I don't actually understand what that means, but I'm worried that that's also making the stream go down. Because it says to restore access, you can build positive channel. My brain is short-circuiting so much. To restore access, you can build positive channel history by following our community guidelines, or provide video or ID verification for quicker access. This may not be available for all channels. There's no link to tell me what that means for build positive channel history.
There's no such thing as pure freedom in this
By
world.
following the community guidelines.
Even the wind cannot blow on forever.
This may have happened because your channel did not follow community guidelines. Well, if that's the case, you should tell me what violation you think I've done. I never get emails like this. Yeah, I literally got like an email just now. I don't know if it happened when the stream was buffering or not.
You think I've got a sharp tongue?
It was
I
like
just
your
tell it
channel
like
has
it is.
lost access to
If
advanced
someone
features.
can't handle it,
You won't be able to
maybe
do
that's
things
their
like get higher
problem.
daily limits for live streams, shorts, and video uploads. And so now I'm worried, are they trying to take down... Yeah, exactly, you don't have enough channel history. It says, as of right now, your channel doesn't have sufficient channel history. Like, what does that even mean? That doesn't even mean anything. And they don't even have like a link for... Oh, they give a link for that part. What is channel history? This is actually... I don't want this to be what the stream is about, but this is kind of important considering I'm actually worried they're trying to take down the stream. I don't think that's what's happening. I think it's just bad internet and every time I switch screens. But, you know... Your channel history is a record of channel activity, like video uploads,
There's
live
no
streams,
need to
and audio
exchange
engagement.
pleasantries.
Personal
It's
data
rather
related
pathetic to
Google
force a
account. When and how your account
conversation
was created, how often
just
your
to
account is used, and
occupy
your method of access
silence.
to Google services. Well, I don't see how my channel activity is lacking. It's true, I don't use this channel to watch videos. But, I mean, I have almost 900 videos uploaded on it, so... I've been posting almost every day for the last month. So I don't understand what they could possibly be talking about. Alright, I think... Anyway, the point is Wanderer's story is extremely depressing. I've said my piece a lot about it, including how I found his story to be very personally touching, and his journey to essentially move forward with his life despite all the bad things that have happened to him and also the bad things he has done to other people. Let's just say in a few words, I think I've learned a lot from his story. So I'm really excited to see him come back. And leading into the Fatui Harbingers. He was one of the Fatui Harbingers. We're going to be meeting a few Fatui Harbingers. Yeah. So at the end of that trailer, he says he has a score of his own to settle. Of course, we know that score was with Dottore, the doctor. A harbinger we particularly do not like. We've been spoiled lately with harbingers that we've either liked or found agreeable. We've been working a lot with Tartaglia, child. He always wants to hang out with us. And that's cool. He's our friend. We're kind of friends with Wanderer now. He's not a harbinger anymore, though. We left that all behind. And now he's a college student suffering through exams, which is such a relatable thing. I don't think we would have found him to be super agreeable either back when he was a harbinger. We've worked with Arlecchino, the knave, which has been a pretty good... We worked pretty well with her.
There's no such thing as pure freedom in this world. Even the wind cannot blow on forever.
Yeah, that. In terms of, you know, just help each other out. And as long as we help look out for the House of the Hearth members, she's pretty chill with us. And then last time we met with the captain, Il Capitano, who was pretty awesome and helped us out a ton. And as we've seen in all those cases, the harbingers are all working for the Tsaritsa of Snezhnaya, and trying to bring back the Gnosis, and that's like their main job in all their operations across Tevat. But all of them have their own objectives and goals for which this position of authority helps them achieve their goals. Some of them more, I'd say more innocent, like Tartaglia trying to always grow stronger and improve his combat until he is strong enough to take down the heavens and all that kind of stuff. Everybody has their own goals. Now we're kind of going back to dealing with the Harbingers. Let's just say we find a lot less agreeable, such as Dottore, Il Dottore, the doctor, who was responsible for a lot of human experimentation and torture, including towards Wanderer, back when he was, well, when he became Scaramouche, the Balladeer, and also to our dear friend Kale, who has overcome so much to get past those years in her life. If Wanderer is here to absolutely destroy Dottore on behalf of himself and everybody else that has suffered at Dottore's hands, I am so here for that. Like normally I want to be more like, okay, we need to see all sides of the picture here. You know, there could be reasons
There's no need
for
to
other
exchange pleasantries.
characters doing
It's
what
rather
they do.
pathetic
But
to
with
force
Dottore's
a
case,
conversation
it's
just
really
to
just a case
occupy
of
silence.
he's completely malicious and has a complete disregard for ethics and the value of human life. And I look forward to however they decide to deal with him, because I highly doubt the story writers would risk... Well, I'm excited to see what they come up with for an interaction between Wanderer and Dottore. Who, by the way, Dottore, now after the Irminsul incident, also doesn't remember him. So this is literally the Scarlet Witch and Thanos. You took everything from me. I don't even know who you are. You will. That's literally that situation. I don't know what they're going to do, but I know... I trust they're going to do something that will not make the fans unsatisfied with the story. That's pretty much all I can put into words there. I mean, it's a delicate, whatever road they tread with that line of the story, it's delicate, but I trust they know what to do. Oh yeah, and because Wanderer is not like an organic life form human, he actually doesn't, you can see that he doesn't have breath on Dragon's Spine, versus if you put the Traveler, and you can see like the breath like actually condensates. Versus Wanderer doesn't. That's a cool detail. And we're talking about like niche details like in a game that not many people probably pick up on. That's one of them.
Me.
Okay, and the other Harbinger that we're for sure meeting is Sandrone, the marionette. It was this girl who's riding on this big robot thing, which we don't actually know anything about her. Only that she doesn't seem that nice from what we've seen so far. And people were speculating that she kind of looks like a young Marianne from Fontaine. So I'm interested to learn more about her. But she so far...
You think I've got a sharp tongue?
Okay.
I'm
sorry. I do want to just have them like chatting with me, but at the same time it does distract me a tiny bit. Okay. It's cool to have them do their idle voice lines most of the time. So yeah. Yeah, we're gonna learn more about her, but so far, not the best first. My brain is short-circuiting again. Best first impression from her. And then possibly another Harbinger, but we're not really sure what her status is. Is the damselette Columbina. the third of the Fatui Harbingers. She's said to be this... Well, this is what Wanderer has to say about her. And I have Tartaglia as well.
Let me ask. What should you do if you were to encounter a damsel who is oblivious and innocent at any given time, and unconcerned and unfeeling in any given situation? If it were me, I could at least challenge her to a fight. But if it were you, with your conscience, I would stay away from her.
Right. That's ominous. When we talked with Nahida back in Sumeru, she told us how the top 3 ranked harbingers, which we now know would be the captain, the doctor, and the damselette Columbina, are all harbingers that possess power akin to or on the scale of the gods. This we can attest to with, the captain being able to duel with Moika on a pretty much equal scale, and he really almost had a chance of winning there. So yeah, I believe that. Then we also know that Dottore is pretty scary. Did a lot of things that we don't like, including the whole thing with the segments, which thankfully Nahida got rid of pretty much all of them. So, third one, Columbina, also said to be, let's go back somewhere we can see the moon. Maybe I should have gone to the top of Dragonspine. That would be cool. But no, we have that in the backdrop. No, I don't want to do a commission, actually. Let's avoid that. The thing is, the Fatui have essentially... They've made their presence more... they've created a stronger presence in nod-krai, shall we say. That's what we've heard from a lot of people coming from there, including in the latest Archon quest, which I will be posting the video of that soon. Talking about they've basically taken over parts of nod-krai and are up to some pretty scary stuff there. They have the term that has come up a lot is the Pale Star Edict. We don't know what this edict is, but part of it, for sure, as I said in the trailers, is to retrieve the damselette from nod-krai at all costs. Oh, look, fake moon and real moon being beside each other. And in the latest trailer, she was not labeled as the damselette Columbina. Or, Columbina, Fatui Harbinger, codename Damselette, as, just like the other Harbingers are. They called her Moon Maiden Columbina. And from what we will see in the web pages that we're going to preview, then it seems that she is on those statues that are like the Statue of the Seven, and is the being that is worshipped there by the locals of nod-krai, including the Frostmoon Scions. And so, it sort of seems that she's not necessarily working with the Fatui right now, despite being their third harbinger, as the Fatui are being sent to retrieve her. And furthermore, the Fatui look like they're performing some kind of operation on those statues, like they're trying to trap them and extract power from them or something like that. So clearly something fishy is going on with her, and she's not really collaborating with the Fatui on this one. That is for certain. Yeah. I think those are the main harbingers who are going to make their presence known. So yeah, not necessarily the harbingers that we have liked so far. Whenever Ether yawns, it's like, that's so contagious. I want to yawn too, so badly. That's so funny. Okay. That leads us to some of the new stuff in Nod-krai, including the stories about the 3 moons. Which actually, now I remember it. I think I was reading about them and now I forgot what I was reading about them. It's okay. There, in the ancient past, there was a tale about, or there was rather, as we know, 3, because, you know, these tales of the past are often true in this game. There were 3 moons. The 3 moons were actually they also had personifications. They were 3 sisters with the names Aria, Sonnet, and Canon. I think that's right. They all had like poem names. They were 3 moons that watched over Teyvat, and they also had some connection to the angels and the Sealies, I believe. But then, you know what? It's probably in one of these books. I just don't remember which one. Something happens to them. They end up... Oh my gosh, there's so much stuff apparently I don't even have. The Legend of Vanessa. Oh yeah, if we talked about the Bakunawa quest, then that references the Maratans, and Vanessa was... Okay, anyway. Then, you know what? We gotta go back to our favorite book. No, not A Legend of Sword. The Little Witch and the Undying Fire. That's important too. No, it is Before Sun and Moon. Where is Before Sun and Moon? I think this one, at least one of these books is... Yeah, this might be it. My laptop just died, which means now I'm gonna have to read everything on my phone. It's okay, so I can still see chat. Yeah, okay, there's actually a ton of important lore in here. The funerary year? Oh my gosh, okay, good thing I went into this book, because I was like, what does a funerary year mean? Apparently we talked about this before. Alright, there's a lot of good stuff in here. Okay, volume 2 is Before Sun and Moon, if I'm not mistaken. Would any of this talk about the moons, though? Okay, the thing with the moons, hopefully we'll recap on this when we go to Nod-krai. They all died, and 2 of the moons were destroyed, and the 3rd moon, their lifeless corpse is now the moon that is in the sky of Teyvat and that we see. The entities associated with all 3 of them are dead. I'm highly speculating that that moon up there is one of the destroyed dead moons. And the other moon that we saw is the Frost Moon. I can't remember if that was Aria, Sonnet, or Canon. But the Frost Moon is the moon that we see, and it's the corpse of whichever one was not completely obliterated. I used to be so much better at this. But it's okay, because they're going to remind us, I'm sure, when we actually get to Nod-krai. So that's the story of the moons. At the same time, now getting into the Nod-krai factions, there's a lot of entities and factions heading into Nod-krai and basically competing for influence there. And that's what we're going to get ourselves involved to, I think. One of those is the Frostmoon Scions. The Frostmoon Scions are locals to Nod-krai and indigenous to that region, and they have been worshipping this new moon like I guess the second coming of the moons, or a new moon. I guess it's just a new moon. Anyway, and they're the ones that created the statues that we see across nod-krai, and those statues look a lot like Columbina, the Harbinger that's not working with the Harbingers right now. One other thing about Columbina is, since the very beginning of like her design being released, people noticed how her mask, since a lot of the Harbingers wear some kind of mask, but her mask looks like the base of a Sealy court. So, wondering if that has something to do with her character as well. The Sealies are said to be like the more primitive, or maybe more primitive forms of the angels after they were forced to devolve after something that I don't remember now, because I unfortunately had to remove a lot of this information from my brain in order to have room to store other stuff. Once again, I'm excited for nod-krai because they're going to remind me about all of this again, and that's going to be fun. And then I lost my train of thought again. There's too many, it's too stimulating here. I like it too much. I just want to run around and not think about anything. It's so good to just run around in the Easy Way Holiday Resort, because then I just don't want to be anxious about anything. I literally just want to run free on flowery fields. And this place you get to do that. I'm getting so sidetracked, but I'm really happy to be here. Okay, we talked about the Frostmoon Scions. We have the Light Keepers. I don't know much about them yet, other than that trailer they posted with Flynn's last time. The Wild Hunt looks like they're just completely zombies, and they look terrifying. Of all like oh, these guys are dancing. Of all like the open world, like just regular enemies we fight, like the Wild Hunt is probably one of the scariest designs they've come up with so far. But it's scary in like a cool way. We gotta watch the trailer afterwards. Who else? The Hexenzirkel, we've talked a lot about them. The Fatui, we've talked a lot about them. Nasha Town is sort of like the crossroads in Ninjago. That's what I mean. Genshin Impact, Song of the Welkin Moon gives me the vibes of Ninjago Dragons Rising. Like a new title to herald like a new rebirth of something that was already beloved. In the case of Ninjago, I watch a lot. I've watched the whole Ninjago, by the way, since I was a child, and now I'm still watching it. With Ninjago, I could tell with the way the story was going, I felt like they really were sort of running out of ideas for like original ideas. And when they brought out Ninjago Dragons Rising and I watched that first season, I was so like, this is amazing. It's like, it's seeing new life breathed into something that was really, I was afraid it really felt like it was dying in a way, in terms of the story and originality. Suddenly they did this thing with the merge, and all the worlds get fused together, and how are the people going to work together in a new civilization? And the way they did it was just so good in terms of, I feel like this has just given everybody a fresh start. And also the old characters, new characters, and then also having the old characters come back, but now in a more like they're like the mentors to the new characters kind of role. And that was really special to me too, because now it feels like we've grown up, they've grown up, now they have adult responsibilities and so do we, but we can get through this together kind of feeling. Anyway, with that series, some sort of rebirth was really important. With Genshin, things are going pretty good, I would say. They're not as in desperate need of that kind of concept of rebirth or like reimagining, but at the same time, the way they seem to be doing it, it certainly doesn't hurt. They've, in their first nod-krai concept overview, they talked about bringing everything in the story back together. How can we, realizing the story is almost too vast for most players to really get a concept of the bigger picture of what they're trying to say. And I can certainly attest to that as somebody who's clearly very much lore interested. I still have a hard time grasping all the information of things that we have picked up over the years. And certainly all of us with, other stuff going on in our lives, it's really hard to hold on to so much information. And they seem to be really basing their ideas of nod-krai around, this sort of concept of bringing stuff together. How can we take everything we've learned so far, tie it together so you finally can see the bigger picture? How can we present it in that way? And that is something that's probably the biggest thing I'm excited for with nod-krai, is that sort of concept of we're going to make everything that you've learned come together and make some sort of sense. And that's really exciting. Yeah. What was the train of thought that made me think of that? Oh no, we're getting to that part of the stream. Why was I talking about that? I mean, I know why, because that's an important part of... Should I choose red or blue? Neither. Choose yellow. No? Okay. Choose red. I still feel like blue is better. Aha. No, it's perfect. Cookie Tot says, they watched Ninjago a couple times, but always up to season 8 or so. Watched all up to Dragons Rising. Start to waver character arc-wise around 7 or 8, but still good ideas. Yeah, I liked Ninjago. I liked up to about season 10, and season 10 it felt like they were really wrapping it up there. Anyway, season 10 being the rise of the Oni season. Like, they really were sort of wrapping up the ideas there, and I really liked up to that point. I think they had some pretty good ideas there. Once they started doing like the I guess it's considered seasons 11 to 15, like the last few. But the animation style was really good, but yeah, story-wise, I think they were kind of running out of ideas. I mean, how many times could Master Wu forget to tell them something about some ancient problem that he forgot to tell them about, and now it's gonna come back thousands of years later to haunt them? I think they were starting to kind of lose some of that spark after that point. And that's what was exciting about Dragons Rising, is finally they got that spark of ingenuity back. I feel like they're not trying to just do the same kind of concept over and over. They're doing something new here with Eren and Sora. Okay, on the topic of, we can totally make this talk into a Ninjago Dragons Rising stream instead. I don't want to completely derail. I will just say, I'm not super happy with what happened with Eren and Sora in the most recent Season 3 Part 1. But I'm also interested to see where it goes from here, because maybe in hindsight it won't be such a bad choice. That's all I can say for now. What was next on my Genshin list? We talked about moons and new factions, and the Sealies, and the Descenders. Alright, don't know how much the Descenders are gonna come up in nod-krai, but at the same time I think to myself, how could they not? The Descenders, so I guess this is part of what we're hoping to learn about Teyvat, which is, from what we know about the bigger picture here, is that Teyvat was once this, I guess, planet, region? I don't even know what scope we're dealing with here. But it was ruled over by dragons and, dragons, really. The one of those dragons is called Nibelung. It seems like they were like the big deal. I don't know, the leader of the dragons. And there were also 7 dragon sovereigns. The idea of the elements was also still around, and that has to do with the Vishops. The Vishops are also dragons. Actually, yeah, all dragons, really. And the moons are implied to have been from before that time as well. Then came the heavenly principles. I love the sparkles over there. I am so easy to distract and derail. So much. I say and a lot. I feel like that makes it not as fun to watch this. I say this as myself really trying hard to listen to myself. I feel like all the times I say like and actually makes it really hard to listen to me. Personally, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's okay for you guys. But I find it's distracting to myself, and I hate that I do it. And I did it again. Oh, happy birthday! What is that? Oh, we went there before. Clicked this before. This is our hotel room. Alright, see you later, Toki Tot. Have a good evening. Good luck at work. A wave machine from Wavy Bay. It looks like a baby Kohalosaurus. Adorable. Everyone who sees it, especially Moalani, wants to get one for their own house. That way they can enjoy the thrill of surfing anytime, any place. If the stream keeps going, I can pop back in. Okay. I'm not sure it's gonna go for that much longer, but yeah, for sure. Thank you for hanging out. Right. Descenders. Heavenly Principles is this entity that came from beyond Teyvat, and they established their rules and systems. Before the Heavenly Principles, there did seem to be the elements. Right, okay, going back to my train of thought. Enkonomiya, an area of the map I really like hanging out. Just, the vibes are so mysterious, but it's also... It's just this really serene place now. But it is one of the many fallen civilizations in and around Teyvat that we have explored. But Enkonomiya, I'm mentioning here, is because it's the nexus between... It's located within the nexus of 3 places. The human realm, which is Teyvat. The Abyss, which, you know, we've been dealing with the Abyss, and the Bishop realm, which is also the Light realm, which is also the Elemental realm. Because if you notice, there are 7 elements, just like there are 7 colors that form light. So, that's important. So the concept of the elements was already present in Teyvat and controlled by the dragons until the Heavenly Principles showed up and established their rules. Their rules involve, and they also created the 4 shades. These godlike entities, well, they are gods, god entities that essentially carry out the Heavenly Principles' will. We saw them, excitingly, in the God's Limits trailer, or animated short. And they are Nibirius, the Shade of Life, who's now been consumed and possessed by Rhine-Daughter. Then we have Renova, the Shade of Death, who was very much involved in the Natlan Archon quest. The Shade of Time, Istaroth, who was very involved here in Enkonomiya. She was known as Kairos here. And helped the people of Enkonomiya while they were trapped here by providing them with wisdom, I believe. She is also the one who, as we recently learned, I miss this music so much. My gosh, I need it to be here. What is that? Oh, it's an Abyss Herald. I forgot they just have those in the world, like hanging out. I always thought that they were just, I forgot that they weren't just in the quests. I forgot they could also hang out in the world. Right, I can stay on track. Istaroth provided her power to Venti, and they almost seem to be the same person in insofar as they have the same voice. But I'm not sure they actually are. I mean, actually no, I don't think they're the same person. But there's a connection between Istaroth and Venti that's more than what we know. But what we did learn is that indeed Istaroth bestowed her power upon Venti, and he used it to cast the Mare Javari and the Bakunawa away from Teyvat and out of the timeline. To blast it out of the timeline. So that's something. And then finally, Asmodee, the Shade of Space, who was notably absent from the other trailer. But as we saw, they were the Shade. Okay, it's not a sheer drop. Oh, I didn't really mean to do that. They were the Shade that separated the two siblings, Aether and Lumine. We still don't really understand why. We learned more about Lumine in the Space and Time for You quest. But we don't understand the extent to why she dislikes the Heavenly Principles, except for sending that Shade to split us up. Which, you know, would pretty much, I think that would be enough to upset her. But it sounds like it's even more than that. Anyway, those are the Shades. It sounds like... Well, then after that they had the Archon War, and they established the rules. Celestia, the island in the sky I keep pointing out, is the throne of the Heavenly Principles and the thrones of the 7 Archons. I'm not sure if the thrones are actually a physical thing or if it's completely metaphorical, only that Focalor, the Hydro Archon, destroyed the throne of the Hydro Archon, therefore making it so there would not be another Hydro Archon. Completely breaking those rules. Yeah. So we have here. This is a forbidden text in Teyvat. So we are reading but this gives us a lot of the information we need to know. Hence, probably why it's forbidden there. What we wish to record is the tale of how heaven's will took the shape on the earth below. Okay? When the doves held branches, the eternal throne of the heavens came, the world was made anew. Then the true Lord, the Primordial One, came forth and did battle against the 7 terrifying sovereigns, dragon lords of the old world. The Primordial One here is likely referring to the Heavenly Principles, and the 7 terrifying sovereigns are the dragon sovereigns I was talking about. The Primordial One created shining shades of itself, and the number of these shades was 4. There we go. The 4 shades. Dude, this is so insane that before this was literally information that was only available in a forbidden text, and now fast forward like 4 years later, and we have an animated short showing the 4 shades, or I guess 3 shades, looking down and hanging out, and watching over like what the heck we're up to. We've come so far. On fineness, or I want to say finen, fanes or fineness. Okay, the Primordial One may have been fanes. I don't know how to say that name. It had wings and a crown and was birthed from an egg, androgynous in nature. But for the world to be created, the egg's shell had to be broken. However, Fanes, the Primordial One, used the eggshell to separate the universe and the microcosm of the world. Okay, so the Heavenly Principles, pretty scary. That's true. The thing is, we have not seen... At first I thought the god we see at the beginning of the game was the Heavenly Principles. But now we know that's Asmodee, one of the shades of the Heavenly Principles. Which means we haven't actually seen the heavenly principles themselves. They've been asleep this whole time. 40 years after the held branches, 40 winters entombed the flames, and 40 summers churned the seas. The 7 sovereigns were vanquished, and the 7 nations were submitted to the heavens. That is the 7 nations of Teyvat. The Primordial One, the great sovereign, began the creation of heaven and earth for our sake, that of its creations which it cherished the most, who would soon appear on this earth. Right. And this is confirmed with records from the dragon civilization in Natlan that humans did not exist in Teyvat before the heavenly principles. The heavenly principles brought humans to Teyvat, which the dragons were not super happy about back then. Some of them were more tolerant, some of them were more accepting, the rest of them seemed to not really like them that much. Also, the 7 sovereigns were vanquished, but it sounds like those sovereigns are still able to be, much like how there has to be an Archon the whole time until Fosor destroyed the throne. Like there always has to be an Archon for each throne. It sounds like there also has to be well, I don't know. Does there always have to be a sovereign for each one? Anyway, Neuvillette is the current Hydro Dragon sovereign, but he wasn't from this era. It sounds like he was only from around the same time as the Cataclysm. So it seems like Hydro Dragon Sovereign is also a title that can be inherited and passed down from, I guess, entity to entity. But that's Neuvillette's thing, is he's the current Hydro Dragon Sovereign, and kind of filling the role of an Archon for now, since there is no Hydro Archon. And also, he's busy because he's also a judge and the, leader of the government there. So I don't know how he has any free time anymore. Maybe he doesn't. That was a sad thing. 400 years after the held branches, the mountains and rivers were made, and the seas and oceans accepted those who rebelled and those who would not kneel. The Primordial One and one of its shades created the birds of the air, the beasts of the earth, and the fish of the sea. I'm guessing that would be Nibirius, because that's all life. Together they also created flowers, grass, and trees before finally creating humans, our ancestors, numerous as the stars in the sky, uncountable as the sand on the shore. From that time our ancestors made a covenant with the Primordial One, and so entered a new age. That's the beginning there of the primordial, the heavenly principles, and it's just crazy that we actually have a picture in our mind of what this might have looked like, knowing what one of the shades looks like. The year of the Ark's opening, the Primordial One had a sacred plan for humans. As long as they were happy, it too rejoiced. The year after the Ark's opening, the people worked the land and so came the first harvest. The people mined and so reaped the first crop of precious ore. The people gathered and the first poems were written. The year of Jubilee. If there was hunger, the heavens would bring down food and the rain. If there was poverty, the earth would bring forth its riches. If melancholy were to spread, the heavens would reply with their voices. The one taboo was to succumb to temptation, but the path to temptation has already been sealed. Yeah, that's the thing, is you cannot keep a utopian world utopian forever. Such a thing simply does not exist. All right. The funerary year. I'm so glad we came to this book, because literally at the beginning I was like, I don't know if we've heard about the funerary year before when we're talking about the trailer. Now it seems like we have. So we are in the era we're gonna actually learn about stuff that was part of this ancient text. The second throne of the heavens came, and the war was rekindled, as it was in the world's creation. That day the heavens collapsed and the earth was rent asunder. Our ancestors and their ancestral land fell into this place during the conflict. The era of darkness had begun. That's right. There was another entity that came. They are possibly the second descender. We don't know that for sure. But there was an entity called the Second who came. I assume this is... And then they fought the Heavenly Principles, just like how the Heavenly Principles fought the Dragon Sovereigns. Sorry, I caught myself saying again, and now I'm mad at myself. And now I've lost my train of thought again. We're almost done, by the way. I've almost covered my whole list of stuff. Right. Okay. Second who came. Then that was actually, I think that's before the Archon War or during the Archon War. I'm not sure when the Archon War happened in relation to this. But yeah, as it says here, the people of Enkanomiya and their country was thrust into the Dark Sea over here during that conflict, where they were cut off from everything. The first year of darkness, the people of the Seven Sovereigns had found refuge in the oceans, and the dragon heirs of the depths ruled this particular place, which led them to war between them and our ancestors. Right, so the dragons had been cast aside. The other dragons were also hiding here. Then humans got cast here. Now they're both stuck here, and they went to war. Our ancestors chased them into the shadows with the light of 1,000 lanterns, and they hid in those shadows, hunting us. But there was only darkness in this place, and so their hunting grounds were untrampled. The prayers of the people turned into lamentations, but the primordial one and its 3 other shining shades could not hear. Now we have, these are all Enkanomiya stories. We have the parable of the sun. Lit a torch, okay. Only searching for the way home. We knew her. We knew the only one who had not forsaken us as the ruler of time. She was every moment. She was the measure of 1,000 winds in the sun and the moon. The connection with the 1,000 winds there is not a coincidence. She was every second of joy, every moment of rage, every instant of longing, every minute of obsession. She was every flash of delirium. We call her Kairos, or the ruler of the unchanging world. We dare not speak her true secret name, and so I pen it here only once and in reverse. And of course, we know that says Istaroth. And this was the first time her name was said. Then we have Abrax and the Dainichi Mikoshi. Our ancestors stopped returning away, for surely the war and the service had ended by then. But the primordial one, the first throne, had laid down a ban preventing our ancestors from finding the path home. In that case, the primordial one must have defeated the second who came. Okay, so the heavenly principles won that war. So they fought the dragons that were here first and won, and then they fought the next invader who wanted to do the same thing, I assume, and also won. And then Abrax was imprisoned by the Order of the Sun Child, which we've delved into that lore before. The gardener is the god of moments who is able to take seeds from this moment into the past and the future. Right. And then in the Raiden Shogun's second story quest, when we're talking about the sacred sakura and Makoto planting it in the past, and only A could see it, and only A knew it had been there the whole time, then she and Yaemiko were thinking to themselves, there's no way Makoto could have done this without the help of... They didn't say her name at the time, but there was a little, the subtext above that said Istaroth. So taking seeds from this moment into the past and the future might be literal in this case. All right. That was important. And then at some point there was a third descender too who died, and their power became the Gnosis. The Gnosis, or a Gnosis, is these little chess piece things. They're more powerful than the visions, but each of the Archons had one. As we've discovered, they seem to be pretty powerful even without the power of the Gnosis. Only in Malwika's case have we really even been talking about the power offered to them by a Gnosis that is different than the power they already possess. But more importantly, they symbolize that this is the Archon that is the current Archon and chosen by the Divine Throne and the Celestia and all that. And the Tsaritsa, the Cryo Archon, the leader of Snezhnaya, has been collecting them. For what? We don't know yet. But thanks to Malwika, she doesn't have them, the Tsaritsa doesn't have them all yet, so that's good. For us. And then we have us, the fourth descender. And apparently that's a really important thing. They were talking about how Malwika, like the lives of the descenders are more powerful than you know, or are more valuable than you even know. So that's ominous. Anyway, the remains of the third descender are the Gnosis, so I don't really want to see what happens if we die, so we better not die. And we also need to figure out why our sibling is not considered a descender, and not only is not considered a descender, but is not even considered foreign to Teyvat. Irminsul, the world tree that is the repository of memories of the entirety of Teyvat, except for the Night Kingdom ones. Does not record the actions of the descenders. I imagine it's as if we're like a black hole in its memories. You can probably sense that we were there based on the memories of everybody else, but it has no memory of us actually being there or doing anything in this world. And so far, that has led us to remember things that other people forgot when Irminsul was changed. Even Paimon was affected. Paimon bears a lot of similarities in appearance and aesthetic to Asmodee, the Shade of Space. But in truth, we actually have no concrete evidence that... I mean, there must surely be some kind of relation between the two of them, but we don't have much evidence beyond that there's any connection, other than they're related somehow. But it was suspicious when the other shades were talking and Renova said, and then Istaroth said, well, what if she just switched sides? And Renova said that's impossible unless she loves her new master more than her own self. Which, you know, the evidence that Paimon and Asmodee could be the same person, or like two sides of the same coin, is stronger than ever, but it's not conclusive yet. It's not conclusive, but it is strong. Was there anything else I wanted to say? I think that wraps up most of what I wanted to say. I do want to go through those the web pages I had saved there, the nod-krai previews, but I think I'm tired. I'm tired, and I don't like things that tend to be super unorganized, so that was my struggle with doing this stream, but I think it was also really, like, cathartic to do. What are we at? 1 hour, 49 minutes? Okay, I've talked for a while. It was therapeutic to talk about all of this. I'm not sure if it was super coherent, but I think I got a lot of ideas out there. If anybody watched this. I know Tokitot was watching, so thank you, Tokitot. But yeah, thank you to anybody who watched through this. Like I said, I'm so I feel like I keep doing it. When I don't have a plan for things and I haven't scripted anything, then I say and like a lot, and it's so distracting to me that even I pick up on it, so I'm worried it's distracting to you guys too. And that's why I tend to really want to not script streams, but like have an idea of what I want to do in each of them, and have an idea of what we want to accomplish, and not spend too much time just wasted running around looking for stuff. I'm specifically referring to the last stream where we did the Easy Breeze Holiday Resort. I'm like, where are all the time trials? What do you mean this is not a time trial? This is totally a time trial. It's a timed trial. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, it's not that streams are scripted. It's that they're organized. So this one was not super organized, but I probably needed to get that all out of my system. And it was fun. That was fun. The next stream, 100%. I'm not gonna go to stream for the rest of the week for reasons. So the next stream is definitely gonna be Friday. Friday is when we're speculating the special program for nod-krai is coming out. We're gonna have so much to talk about then. And we also can go to the websites as well that I saved. I don't want to go to them now because I'm afraid it's going to crash the stream again. And I need to sort out what this, what is it? Positive, what was it? Positive channel history. I need to sort that out before I start messing with anything anymore. Which is great. I have a few days to figure that out now. Alright, that's where I'm gonna wrap things up. Is there anything else I want to say? Not really. Gonna leave this up for at least a bit. I don't know if I'm gonna unlist this and make it like a bonus stream or leave it up. It depends. It's parts. I hope parts of it are not incoherent. Now I'm getting self-conscious. I'm getting self-conscious. Was part of it incoherent? I feel like I was just rambling, and I'm not sure if it was understandable at all because this was an accurate representation of my brain, which is just completely flustered right now. I need to actually relax. I think I'm gonna do that now. All right. Good night, everyone. Have a good evening. I will see you on Friday to talk about nod-krai. Yay!